Everybody in this nation struggles to stay awake part of the time, and it affects our lives. It affects how we respond. The problem is that the people we depend on to help us, to protect us, the soldiers and sailors and cops and firefighters, are often doing this while they're terribly sleep deprived. When a truck runs into the sedan full of some family, or when the police officer pulls the trigger, those things can't be undone.
Sleep research is paramount for the people that work on the ramps around aircraft to know their limits, to be educated on what their limits are. I mean, we know that we have $10 billion in damage, 246,000 injuries worldwide on ramps. We don't know why, but we do know that a piece of it has to be fatigue.
For our law enforcement personnel to be safe, they need to understand all the tools that they have at their disposal, their firearms, their patrol cars, physical tactics. Research and data will help us better train them to use this tool right up here. It's very challenging to do that if we don't have good data, if we don't have good research, if we don't have studies that explain cause and effect. Sleep deprivation, here's the effect, here's your safety.
We are always looking for ways to protect motorists on our state highways. Whether that be commercial motor vehicles clear down to motorcycles.
The research we do, it affects everyone's life.
There's a lot of health-related issues to disrupted sleep and sleep loss. They're not being addressed very well right now.
What I am trying to solve is how sleep loss contributes to the development of obesity. So obesity is a major public health concern, and millions of people are affected.
Sleep or sleep loss, sleep disruption is associated with a whole host of diseases. Is that what's causing type 2 diabetes and this huge epidemic we have of type 2 diabetes?
What we're really trying to design here and develop is to come up with tools that will help people in everyday occupations, in everyday situations. Those kinds of tools will affect everybody's life.
The kind of work we do makes it safer on the roads. It helps the U.S. Department of Transportation determine what the reasonable hours of service rules are for truckers who are driving next to you on the freeway.
If we're putting tired drivers out there, tired drivers are going to be unsafe drivers, and we can't have unsafe drivers on the road. We're not researchers and doctors, so we're depending on them to do the research and to get the simple information back to us, so that leads to safety in our industry and for our company.
Fatigue has to be a factor. It needs to be studied. Through WSU doing a study on fatigue, we could change the economic impact of airports across the country, not just the airports, but the airlines.
High fidelity simulations of high risk activities, driving, we also shooting, and deadly force judgment and decision making in the same controlled laboratory environment. And it's a big deal.
A typical day for a police officer involves hours on end of very routine type of patrol. Suddenly something will happen, and all of a sudden you get the adrenaline rush, and it's very difficult to manage the physical reaction your body has to an unexpected emergency.
The research we do affects not just the bad guy, not just the cop or the firefighter who put their lives at risk knowingly. It affects all the people around them in the community.
To have a group of labs going from studies in a petri dish to humans in the type of environment where they actually do real-life work is a rare thing in any research field. And that's what we've got here.
One foot in basic research, and the other foot's right out there in the operational communities.
There is no other lab in the world that combines the basic science, the modeling, and the applied performance work in the field environment and the laboratory studies and the simulations. I mean, it really could have profound effect on people's performance, productivity, health, and well-being.
It's got major implications for the real world.
Sleep research is important to the whole trucking industry, not only Fastway Freight, my company, but the whole industry.
WSU's sleep research is an important and practical way to help us understand the issue better and to deal with it.
If you genuinely care about the safety of the police officers in your community, this is one of the best investments you can make to keep our law enforcement professionals safe.
Any dollar that's donated to WSU Spokane will be amplified multiple times.
Supporting a top-notch educational and research environment is a good investment in our future and in our kids' future.
We read in the magazines that we have this problem, we don't sleep enough. We see that every day. Very few people provide a solution. That's what we're working on.